A call for less political presence on the board of airlines.
Liat's sustainability would have benefited if it was run more as a private sector operation. Governments then subsidize flights to given destination or routes that in the best interests of their respective countries. We do so now with international airlines. We could do so with Liat also.
Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the National Report, I am Rakisha St. Louis. The incoming chairman of CARICOM, Grenada's Prime Minister, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, says there is need for less political presence on the board of airlines. Addressing the opening of the 38th regular meeting of CARICOM heads at the Grenada Trade Center on Tuesday, Dr. Mitchell said a private sector arrangement could lend to greater efficiency. He told those in attendance that discussion on the subject of air connectivity must include dialogue on the reduction of air travel to rejuvenate intra-regional travel. Dr. Mitchell said it would represent a significant installment to the regional integration account if heads would collectively agree to reduce airline ticket taxes as well as other fees which are attached to the cost of intra-regional air travel.
Colleagues, I have long held the belief that too much political presence on the board of airlines such as Liat is not helpful to its proper management and efficiency. Liat's sustainability would have benefited if it was run more as a private sector operation. Governments then subsidize flights to given destination or routes that in the best interests of their respective countries. We do so now with international airlines. We could do so with Liat also. Colleagues, I ask this question. How can Liat strive when, for example, a few months ago, literally overnight, Liat canceled one of its most lucrative routes from Grenada to Barbados without any consultation with the citizens or leadership of Grenada? Overnight. It clearly could not have been based, the decision could not have been based on economics and viability. Colleagues, we have to do better as a region.
CARICOM Secretary General Erwin LaRocque says transportation is a significant cost factor in trading and the movement of people, including intra-regional tourism. However, he says the new CARICOM multilateral air services agreement they will discuss could result in reduced freight weights and passenger airfare as well as increased air transport services. This, he adds, will be good news for the tourism sector, which accounted for just over 14% of GDP in 2015. A highlight of Tuesday's opening ceremony was the presentation of the Triennial Award for Women to Ms. Shirley Price of Jamaica. Ms. Price, a veteran advocate for the rights of domestic workers, is the recipient of the 12th award. For the remainder of their time, the heads will deliberate on matters like the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, Regional Air Transportation, and the HRD 2030 Strategy and Implementation Plan to address development skills for the 21st century. One of the newest members, Bahamian Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, spoke to the importance of acting as one to harness the region's tremendous mutual potential while facing shared challenges, whether in air and sea transportation, climate change, or regional and national security.
We will become individually more successful when we become collectively more successful. Our people will know CARICOM is working for them when they can see, hear, taste, and feel it for themselves. The organs and institutions needed to deliver better lives for our people already exist within CARICOM. Those who came before us bequeathed the instruments to deliver on our promise. We should continue working with those instruments to fashion a modern, proactive institution that is seen to be effective, that is perceived as relevant.
The Caribbean Development Fund, the CDF, has signed an agreement with Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell to provide Grenada with loans and grants for 7 projects to help spur production, employment, and foreign exchange. Part of the money will go to the West Indian Spices Incorporated in Butch Grove to fund the construction of a solar drying wing equipped with 8 drying chambers as well as for infrastructural work. It is part of a country assistance program for Grenada totaling $4.76 million US dollars, of which $3 million US was in concessional loans and $1.76 million in grants. The CDF is contributing grant resources totaling $244,000 US dollars, matching the contribution of the private partner, West India Spices Incorporated, which is contributing $369,000 US dollars.
The purpose of this grant is to provide financing to West India Spices to increase drying and grinding capacity based on the use of renewable power sources that will facilitate all-weather production of value-added nutmeg-based products for export. It is expected that the project will have the impact of increasing West India Spices' purchases of raw inputs for producing essential oils on an average of 10% per year until 2025. The company is committed to making the increased drying and grinding capacity available to the nutmeg industry for an agreed period to be determined under a subsidiary agreement with the Grenada Nutmeg Industry Association at very concessional rates, supported by a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Agriculture.
That is Mr. Rodinal Spuma, Chief Executive Officer of the CDF. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell says the government is committed to investing in small businesses, which will be to the benefit of the country.
So what we expect from the spice company, West Indian Spices, is that we see serious action and of course the production of more of these essential products.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The house was shaking. Then suddenly saw we hear bang, crack, and the roof had gone.
Man, I was so scared, I nearly wet myself.
Only those who have lived it can truly understand the devastating fury of a hurricane's wind.
The house across the road just get up and roll over.
Hurricane force wind. It's a hazard. Hazards. Take control. Reduce your loss. You can hurricane-proof your home. For example, make your roof more wind-resistant by using screws instead of nails in its construction. Find out more about hurricane force winds and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from the National Disaster Management Agency and SEDERA.
We return our focus to the 30th regular meeting of CARICOM Heads of Government in Grenada. During the opening at the Grenada Trade Center on Tuesday, CARICOM Secretary General Erwin LaRocque says matters like climate change, heavy debt burden, crime and security are threats that are in need of urgent attention. It is the hope that the CARICOM Arrest Warrant Treaty will be opened for signature.
Since the last meeting of the conference, we have made significant progress on regional legal security instruments, which will add to the arsenal in the battle to secure our region. It is my hope that the CARICOM Arrest Warrant Treaty, which was approved by the Legal Affairs Committee, will be opened for signature at this meeting.
On another subject, Mr. LaRocque said an agreement for establishment of the Caribbean Community Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, which will be headquartered in Barbados, will be opened for signature at the meeting. Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell wants his CARICOM colleagues to take a united position on the subject of West Indies cricket. Dr. Mitchell, an avid cricketer and former chairman of the CARICOM Subcommittee on Cricket Governance, asked whether they will continue to, quote, fiddle in disunity while West Indies cricket burns, unquote.
It is therefore greatly disheartening to me, and I know several of the colleague heads, that after we have taken common position to assist in addressing the crisis in West Indies cricket, some members' governments publicly adopted different positions. We have to call a spade when we see a spade. Colleagues, there is an urgent need for us to get back on course, because the current state of affairs of cricket should be a complete embarrassment to all of us who call ourselves West Indians. The failure of the team to qualify for the recent Champions Trophy in England, and the possibility that it now has to play a qualifying tournament among the lowest to see if it can make the next World Cup, is the latest symptom of this crisis.
Dr. Mitchell also took a swipe at the West Indies Cricket Board, which he says no longer pays attention to the alarm bells that goes off regarding the sport.
Do we stand by and do nothing as the current system almost renders the regional game irrelevant? A team give them a win now and then, just for... Colleagues, we will continue as heads to agree on positions behind closed doors, only to return home in the glare of the public and push a different agenda. My view is we can do better, and we must do better.
And that's the National Report. I am Rakisha St. Louis.